Gaeilge Weekly is a Learn Irish Online production. To find out more about LIO, check out the description down below.
Hello, Mads and Wa, Trinola Ma, Bliain feabhas a díobh go léir. Happy New Year to you all, agus welcome back, Fáiltearás, chuig Gaeilge Weekly on Leagan Níos Simplí. Marial go bhfuil sé seo mar an chéad agran den bhliain I 2026, because this is the first version or the first episode of the podcast in 2026. Seans ma go bhfuil a lán daoine ag éisteacht don chéadúir, agus go bhfuil a lán éistearí nua agin an teachtain seo. You know, people wanting to learn Irish in 2026, daoine géirí an Gaeilge a ólam nó a ólam, or to relearn Irish I 2026. So if you are listening for the first time, mas rud é go bhfuil tú ag éisteacht don chéadúir, míle buchas as a bheith ag túnal isteach. Big thank you for tuning in on teachtain seo. My name's Liam. It's Liam from Learn Irish Online. Agus bín muid chur amach trí leagan den fudcéile, trí leagan de gach agran, 3 versions of every episode or every Gaeilge Weekly show air on Déardaoin. Gach Déardaoin. Yes, I'm going to be speaking about why it's Thursday this year and not Wednesday, by make Lord for Cian Fall of Ian say ag teacht amach air on Déardaoin imlína in áit an chéadín, cosúil le an nuirí, like last year ag an cúpla nóid. Ach tá tusa inis ag éisteacht leis an Leagan Níos Simplí. You're now listening to the simpler version, bíon an Gaeilge beaganaí níos moille agus níos éasca le tuiscint an seo. Seans ma fós by sé Zachar, bratan sé sin the level. So changa, that depends on your level in the language. Ach an sin tá Leagan níos líofa ina bhím ag láirt níos tapúla, níos nádartha is féidir am rá. So in that version, I speak a bit faster, a bit more naturally, I guess you could say. Agus an sin tá leagan dá cheangach chomh ina bhím mé ag rá gachrod in English first, agus an sin as Gaeilge. So, má tá tú géirí éisteacht le gach ceann, bheith sé sin fiú níos fearr. If you want to listen to every version, every one, that would be even better. But just so you know how things work at Gaeilge Weekly. And Thursday. Why Thursday? Cén fá air on Déardaoin? Well, le bhliain go le nó beagnach 3 bliana anús ó nár thosaimid Gaeilge Weekly I mí oibreán 2023, from when we started in April 2023. Bhí muid I gcónaí a chur amach an fudcéile ar an Gaeilge, agus an sin ar an mórch ar Patreon. But I found I was sometimes rushing a bit, or didn't have too much time. You know, hug my feet hour, orintha bhí beaganaí defa no ní rá mór an ama agam. Honna bheith ag ulbhú gachrod mars geart, agus honna bheith ag déanú gachrod mars geart, to be kind of preparing everything properly or doing everything properly. Riv a cúige clock, domsa ar an mórch before 5 o'clock Tuesday, which was my deadline. Everything had to be ready because that was the Patreon date and that was the Patreon release time. Sin an tám bhí an Patreon agus an show ar Patreon ag dul amach. Agus tuairteáin, cén fá, tá mise buics le díad, tá mise gceannas ar gachrod ar Learn Irish Online, tá an tíirse agam chun na cinní seo a dhéanamh. I have the freedom to do these decisions. Cén fá nach níonhí mé an podcréile beaganaí níos déanaí sa seachtain, onas go mbeidh níos lú brú é seo dhéanamh an editing a dhéanamh é seo hafadú, agus óirnta nuair atá an brú agus an deafar sin. Sometimes when there's that pressure, that rush, it's only a podcast, it's not that big a thing, ní rud an a war but sometimes, the quality isn't as good, and I want Gaeilge Weekly to be as good as possible when you guys get it. Tá mé géirí go Gaeilge Weekly chomh mar is féidir nor a aon sibse agus nor bhín sibse ag éisteacht leis an podcréile. And I'm not going to record it the week in advance in case it becomes outdated or whatever I'm talking about. Níl mé chun é a hafadú seacht an rihré, mar tá mé géirí gohfuil sé nu agus gohfuil mé ag labhairt faoi rudaí atá dearc tar éis tarlú. I want to be talking about things that are just after happening or that are happening as I record, agus mise ag tafadú. And I don't want to work on Sunday, basically. Like pretty much everyone, níl mé géirí a bheith gobar ar an domhnach. So now I have Monday, Tuesday and even a bit of Wednesday to get the 3 versions ready. Chun an 3 leagan a all ré agus le cúna dé iad a bheith go fearfa agam nó chomhchongrach mar féidir to have them kind of perfectly sorted or as close as I can get them to perfect for you guys when you hear them. So, by shake teacht amach an Déardaoin imlína gach seachtain, seachas sus an thabhairí apart from a small summer break, it'll be coming out every Thursday throughout the year, agus an sin an Gaeilge má tá tú ag éisteacht Patreon if you're listening on Patreon as a Learn Irish Online or Gaeilge Weekly member. It'll be coming out a day early still over there on Wednesday, on Gaeilge. Speaking there about things being up to date and speaking about things that are topical, like Lartry Ruddy, atá topical. Today, as I'm recording, it is Tuesday, the 6th of January. It's a mort on Seola Mianar. And the 6th of January, I guess, isn't a huge day in Ireland. Ní lá ulwar no fear havatuk on Seola Mianar in Éireann. Ach, timple an dhaoine agus timple na hurpa is lá níos tábhachtaí gandaut. Díobh ag éisteacht don fudchréile don chéadóir you guys for you guys who are listening to the podcast for the first time. Tá mise I mo chónaí sa Spáin. Tá mise mo chónaí is Seville in éasceart na Spáine. So ar nói bí neart na chéilúirí agus neart na tradiisiúntaí beaganaí difriúil hall an seo ag iompráid le conas a bhíonn siad arás in Éireann. Agus sampla sa seo gandáis sin an Seola Mianar, the 6th of January, King's Day, Women's Christmas as we call it in Ireland, Little Christmas, Nullag Laman, Gaeilge, and I'm sure there's a lot of different names around the world. Tá lá annacha difriúla timpeall an down. And in a lot of countries in Europe, along tíortha san Europe, tá sé buinte leis an Epiphany. Mar a Déardaoin, let's do it the Epiphany and the three kings arriving to give gifts to the baby Jesus. Trí rí ag teacht chuig Isa Christ, Bobby Isa, chun runtanis a thuirt dó. Rudagan, beaganaí simú actually nu mé ag éirí dul she's an nummarcha tangents nniu ach tangents beag orintha agus mise ag déanú a lán sem a chuid ibre tangachas. I do a lot of my work on languages, thinking about English, Irish, Spanish, even a bit of Italian. Tugam faoid zara orintha bín focail agus bín siad cosúla céile as Gaeilge agus as Spáinis ach an sin mBéarla bín siad go hiomlán difriúil. Agus anisis ríis tugam faoid zara nó fólamíonn mé faoid ceann nua nó tá Spáinis líofa agam ar nói le blianta anús bhí an focail ré agam sa Spáinis. So for years I've known the word ré sa Spáinis and that means king. But it was only this morning ar maidin mar inniu glítear El Día de los Reyes an sa Spáin. It's called El Día de los Reyes, King's Day an sa Spáin. Agus thug mé fidear, oh, wow, tá sé sin díreach mar an ggéine nó an chosúil le céile réanos as Gaeilge. Rí le haid king as Gaeilge, ré an sin sa Spáinis ach an sin king rud éigean go hiomlán difriúil le root nó origin go hiomlán difriúil mBéarla. So, bhí sé sin beaganaí simú agus tá níos mó focail ná mar cheaptar. Mar sin as Gaeilge's more words than you would think or more words than people expect in Irish like that are similar. So na Dális nó sa Spáinis ach an sin mBéarla go hiomlán difriúil. Ach, inniu an Seola Mianar agus lá anmhór atá ann an seo sa Spáin ach go chóirithe an seo I éasceart na tíre I Seville. Actually, dearhan go bhfuil inniu níos mó agus níos tábhachtaí ná lá na nullag. I would say today, the 6th of January is bigger and more important than Christmas Day. Now, dumsa, listen, gná lá atá ann ní bhíon mise riala ag céilúra nó ag déanú mór an inniu. Ach donna Spáin ag an sa, bíonn siad ag déanú neart rudaí seo an lá a bhíonn siad ag oscailt na Brontanis, ribh ma thuras arás go héireann don nullag mar hampla before my trip back to Ireland for Christmas. I was going to leave a present with someone. They said, why would you leave it with me? You're back on the 29th. Cén fá a dácha Brontanis lumsa tá arás ar a new law is fihid. I said, sure, I'll miss you at Christmas. Then they said, no, we do the presents on the 6th, Jane Himod, na Brontanis an Seola. And, with most things in regards to Spain and Spanish culture, maidir leis an chuid is mó de rudaí maidir leis an Spáin agus cultúr na Spáine. I'm fairly clued up and I know well how things work. Tá agam an chuí a bhíon rudaí ag oibriú amach. I've been here for 5 years now in total, tá bíonn seo le 5 bliain anuas, but Christmas I'm always back at home in Ireland. I'm nula gcónaí bí me arás in Éireann, and these things you learn through lived experience. Full míon tú na rudaí seo as a bheith I a chónaí agus le dul daithí le rud aigen for kind of getting used to actually having an experience with something. So Christmas has always kind of been a blind spot, and I've not had that much experience or any experience. Níl mór an taithí, beannach níl aon taithí ar bigam le nullag na Spáine. Agus gothóirithe an seo is saibhil le éasceart na tíre. Bíonn sé difriúil I gcomparáid le túisceart na tíre. Bhí mé I mo chónaí I Barcelona ar fad gábhalín, agus bíonn rudaí an difriúil hall an sin. Things are very different up there. I'm sure it's not a normal day, but a lot closer to a normal day or an Irish 6th of January up there than it is down here. Tá sé a bhád níos mó cosúil le gnáthluas hús an sin, agus beagnach cosúil le conas a bhíonn sé in Éireann hús an sin. Ach an seo lá anmhór atá an déanann siad na bruntanis, ní bhíonn daddy na nullag acu. They don't have Father Christmas or Santa, being the three kings, the three rí, ag teacht chun bruntanis se ágáil le haid daoine, and there's a lot of parades. The Spanish love their parades, especially here in Seville. Tá na Spáinnig in rá agus gafa le paráidí gothóirithe an seo I éasceart na tíre, gothóirithe an seo I Seville. So, bhí sé sin simú agus ar nóí in Éireann go minic few daoine nach bhfuil Gaeilge acu, even people that don't have Irish in Ireland, go minic glíonn siad nullag na mana ar an séú mbearla. They often still call it, even people who don't speak Irish or don't have much Irish, nach bhfuil mór an Gaeilge acu, they call it Women's Christmas or an Irish nullag na man. And I only kind of thought to myself yesterday, because I was trying to explain to someone from here, bhí mé ag déanamh or bhí mé ag iarraí chuirsís a dhéanamh ar an séú mbearla do dhuine an seo. And I realised, took me for jar, oh wait, I actually don't know where this comes from, where Women's Christmas comes from. Of course, all this stuff goes back to Christianity, the last day of Christmas, an lá Dearnach ire na nullag, and the three kings arriving, the three rí ag stricu ar an crib, ní ar an crib ag an amach ar an stable, agus mar sinne, and so on. But it was only yesterday I thought, oh, hold on, where does Women's Christmas or nullag na man, or Little Christmas as we sometimes call it, come from in Ireland? And I found a little RT article. I'll just read out a bit for you here, and I think it sums it up in a lot of ways. Sorry, I don't have the name of the journalist, Neil Annam, on Irisher Agam on stuff, but it's from RT. If you look up RT nullag na man Women's Christmas, Cínse go bhfuil tú chun I'm sure you'll definitely find it. The 12th and final day of Christmas, January 6th, was known in Ireland as nullag na man, or Women's Christmas, or also Little Christmas. As a reward for their hard work over the Christmas season, it was a day off from all housework for women, and traditional roles were supposed to be reversed in the home. Men did the women's work in the house, while women rested and gathered together informally. The custom was that women made social calls to the homes of their friends and neighbours and enjoyed tea and the last of the Christmas cake. However, as it occurred on the very last day of Christmas, it was generally acknowledged by some that the treats the women enjoyed were the dregs or leftovers of the festive season. This was unlike a men's Christmas, and again, not my words, RT's words. This was unlike the men's Christmas, Christmas Day, when everyone enjoyed the first and finest of the treats. Now, níor thula mé aon rud chomh backwards a chomh progressive ag an am céine ná sin. I've never heard anything was backwards, but equally at the same time as progressive, in Ireland at that time, in Éireann ag an am sin, at the time when even women, married women at least, rá posta, weren't even allowed to have jobs. Ní rá cead acu pushed a bheith acu to give them kind of a day in their own Christmas seemed like quite a progressive thing to do probably at the time, bhí si cosúil rudsáis progressive agus jazz san déanú gnám, but you read it back there and you think, God, how much we've thankfully moved on as a country of weeks le dia tá neart fios tucha orient mar here. I mean, the dregs and the worst of the Christmas cake will be left over to them after probably serving it or having a big role in the house over the previous 10 or 12 days. The fact that Christmas Days references men's Christmas, you know, nullig na figure sin an tanamatá lá nullig no an cúigiú lá is fithe to bhí na nullig. But I thought that was interesting. Bhí sé sin simul dumsa, and it's not, I suppose, a big day in Ireland. Ní lá mór in éireann churbe. I'm sure some people do things, and definitely a lot of women I would know would do something for nullig na man a lant in rá no colony a bheith aithne agam arthú. Dhéantoch siad rud éigean le haid nullig na man, but I don't believe it's a public holiday in Ireland. I remember several times growing up is cuivanlum neartóranta ag fása being in school. First day back was the 6th or the 5th of January an chéad lá ras bhí sé mar an séú lá nó an cúigiú lá mianar, but very different here in Spain. An difriúil an seo sa Spáin, and as I said, especially down south in Seville, go háirithe híos an seo I Seville. So yeah, my trip back home was good for Christmas. When my tatnav as my hearse arash don nullig in Éireann, near Harla mór an aisteacht ní bhíon muid ag déanú a lán rudaí don nullig I machlán féin. So nullig sách ré cúiseach a bhí ann, a fairly laid back, tranquilo, mar dearann siad an seo, fairly relaxed Christmas all in all. Ach, tatníonn sé sin lom, mar a dúirt mé neart ama an bud chéile. Ribh an nullig agus ribh sus na nullig Gaeilge Weekly. Níos mó ná aon rud eile more than anything else, just chance atá ann chun dullarás go héireann agus beagnaíonn ama a chathú an sin. Bhí méid dullarás 3 nó 4 ór in na bliana, de gná, agus bhí sé sin, agus bíonn sé sin gach bliain mar cheann sa na príomh-deisina a bhíonn mé ag dullarás. That's one of the kind of main opportunities or main chances dumsa chun a bheith arás in Éireann. So bhí sé go deas mór an nuacht agam, chun a bheith fearnach, to be honest, ach bhí sé deas ach freisin sás denis a bheith arás sa Spáin agus tús a chur le bliain nua. Ag labhairt faoin mlín sin, I think if you go back to the first episode of last year, má héanta arás chuig an chéad agran a nuri, I was speaking a bit about my different goals. We make large beginning faoin na sprochan na difriúla a bhí agam don bhliain agus na rudaí a rá mé ag éirí buint amach. Agus déanam an rud chéine I gcónaí. Bím ag sí síos de gná idir lá nullig, an nullig na fear, normally between Christmas Day or Men's Christmas, as RTE call it, agus ihe chin bliana. Agus bím ag scríomh mach, an tachtan sin níl clú agat cén lá atá ann agus mar dúirt James O'Flaherty lom nuair bhí sé an bud chéile seo. You're not sure whether you're coming or going, it's like being in purgatory an tachtan sin. Ach, bím ag sí síos agus seans má atá ann chun rudaí a scríomh amach, okay, 2000 is a fiche sé, tá mé géirí an rud seo dhéanamh, an rud seo a bhaint amach in 2026, I want to do this thing or achieve this thing, or tá mé géirí dul an sin or dul an seo, I want to go there or here or whatever else it might be. Agus Melina rinne mé an rud céanna this year, or last year I guess, a few weeks ago, cúpla seachtain ó hin, rinne mé an rud céanna ach gan náis tá na sprochanna beaganín difriúil I Melina. Of course they're different every year, but I would say a more general change or general difference this year. Gan ná difriocht generálta nó athrú generálta atá le feicáil sna sprochanna I Melina ná gohfuil siad níos generálta agus níl siad ag díreúisteach aim amháin. They're more general, my goals for this year, or my thoughts and ideas for this year, rather than zooming in on one thing. A lot of people who write out stuff for the years and New Year's resolutions, lantan na daoine scríomh amach rudaí don bhliain agus ag téanna riún na hábhlíne. An aibis mó a bhín acu de gná sin nachhfuil siad an na rudaí sin a dhéanú agus tá sé deacair chun an sppragu chuineáil sús nó níl an tám acu or just níl an féin smacht acu. They might not have the discipline or the kind of self-control or the time, or things might come up agus an sin ní bhíonn siad an na rudaí dhéanú. Domsa ní fáib í sé. Like, mar scríbim síos, okay, tá mé géirí an tám seo a dhéanú I leat marathon nó an tám seo a dhéanú I 10 kilometer. Beidir tá an tá orm, well tá an tá orm cínse le a héal le neart rudaí. I'm very lucky in my life with a lot of things. Ach, beidir tá níos mó agam agus níl an méid brú céine orm mar tá dhaoine eile. Maybe there's not the same amount of pressure on me as other people. So if I write something out, tá mé an anna dhéanamh. Ach an aibbe agamsa ná orintha tugam faoi deara níl mé géirí an rud sin a dhéanú níos mó, ach fós leanam mar leis. Tá sé simúl domsa sa saoil agus go háirithe le cúpla mí anuas tá mé tar éis é seo a thabhairt faoi deara níos mó. I've definitely realised this more over the last few months. And that's that at different times in my life anyway, and I can only speak for myself, and níl mé an leabhartach dom hain agus ma héal hain, different things have kind of called my attention, or different things have been interesting for me in rudaí difriúla simúl domsa ag pointí difriúla I ma héal. Maybe a few months ago I was obsessed with running, beidir cúpla mío hin, bhí mé anrafa le bheith ag ri. Agus an tám seo a dhéanú sa rás seo, agus sa rás seo, rás 5k, rás 10k leat marathon é seo dhéanamh a bheith tréinal, agus tá sé sin caiilte agam inis. Now, níl mé bortha faoi sin, mar tá sim agam I rudaí eile. You know, níl sé like, oh, tá níl éon sppragu churbe agam, I don't have any motivation to me tíbhaiste an lár fád ag genú. No, I'm always doing stuff. If I go only been make Jane ruddy, I'd feel guilty. If nothing else, bheith me ag mothú ciúntach mona mé an ag déanú rud éigen. Ach, mar hampla má scríbim sí san isis, okay, tá mé géirí a bheith ri 3 uair in aine seachtaine. Well, I gceann cúpla mí, seans má nach mai an sppragu sin agam mar beidir mar hampla na líonnta seo tá mé gimmert a lan snooker. Agus is even lom an snooker agus bheith gimmert snooker tá mé tar éis titsim in rá leis an sport nó an chluthe le cúpla mí anuas agus tá sé glíonnta. Mar scríbim síos an seo mar hampla to achieve a half-century break in snooker to play 2 or 3 days a week. Well, dús is rud spríú lei, and not something I should be putting pressuring myself with. Ní cheart an brú a chur orm féin maidir le sin. But as well as that, in a month or in a week or tomorrow, I may wake up and say, I don't want to play snooker anymore. Níl mé géirí snooker immert níos mó. Ach má tá sé scrífa síos agam tá aithne agam arm hain. I know myself, I'll feel guilty and I feel like, no, I wrote that down, I have to stick with it. And you know, you need that. Tá sé sin tastal wech for some things, because if you want to achieve anything, má tá tú ag géirí aon rud a bhain semach sa saoil ba léitheanta agus ní bhaid tú ag géirí an rud sin a dhéanú. Má tá tú ag géirí céim a bhain semach an old school. If you want to get a degree, let's say, from university, ba neart léitheantaí agus ní bhaid tú ag géirí staidir dhéanú, ní bhaid tú ag géirí dul go dtí an leat to go to the lecture or whatever, you know, caithidú é dhéanú agus caithidú leanúint agus chuineáil ort. You have to keep going. Ach, ag an am céine, nuair atá an tír seo go tun agus buíoch le dí atá an tír seo, and thank God I do have the freedom to kind of manage my time and do different things that I like, and I have my own business tá mo chuló hain agam, so I don't have to do anything with work unless I want to do it. Ní chaith mé aon rud a dhéanú maidir leis an lob ar muna bhfuil mé ag géirí an rud a dhéanú. But things change, you know, being ruddy a gachrú. And after a month or two, I might think, I don't want to do that. So I don't want to be tied in the géirí go mé ceangail se le rud amháin agus caith mé. So lá sin a sprochanna atá agam, lá the goals I have, I mean, tá siad scrífa síos agam os mo chóir an seo. I've them written out in front of me here. Like, rud amháin sin just to be more positive, a bheith níos dearfaí ceapam béidir orintanta bí ro dúilteach agus ro paranoid faoi rudaí agus daoine eile, just a bheith dearfach, agus just, to give people the benefit of the doubt and not to be always thinking, this, this person's trying to do this, tá duine seo géirí an rud seo, or I've not done anything too cool today, so it's not been a good day. No, tá tú bio, tá tú fósaigh tarrant an all, like mothú go má, tá tú sláinsúil, tá the chuid sláinse agat, tá sé ceart glór. Bhí lá iontach agat, if you compare it to what a lot of other people are going through. So to be a bit more grateful and a bit more positive, beginning níos buíoch, agus níos dearfaí, less phone time. Again, I'm not going to say, okay, I'm only allowed to use this, or I'm deleting Instagram, or because again, I might want those things at any point. Seans go mai mé géirí na rudí sin a úsáid again fointe. But to just be like, okay, I can commit myself to less of this, or more of this vibe, or less of whatever it might be, pay rud a bhaid ann. One or two things in terms of travel there. I'd like to do one cool trip outside of Europe. Ach níl an rá, okay, caithfidh mé 3 seachtains in Bliain a chathú I ddíortha nua. I have to spend 3 weeks of the year in new countries or anything like that. Because a rís, seans go dtuchaí mé dhearan na bliana. I might arrive at the end of the year, agus seans go níorthaí mé. Well, you know what, I actually only spent time in Ireland and Spain and nowhere else this year, and that's okay, because I still really enjoyed it. So, sin bhí méid smaoine faoi sin maidin. Agus le cúpla lá anuas, agus, fós tá mé géirí beidir cúpla rud eile a chur an lista seo. Ach thug mé faoi deara, níl mé géirí an brú sin I gcónaí a chur ormhain. Níos mó na rud eile tá mé géirí dul le me instincts is tóg, agus just dul agus leanúint leis na rudaí a bhím ag gléach mo cuidorda ag an am sin, the things that kind of call my attention at that specific time. And that's a big thing for this year, that I'm trying to stick to rud amháin tá géirí leanúint leis agus géirí chuineáil leis sin I mlíne. One other big thing, rud amháin eile, tá mé géirí agus tá sé actually tosaithe agam I've started this, tá mé géirí rud éigean a chrothú nach bhfuil buinteach le learnirishonline. So, is duine sách crothóg mé, I'm a fairly creative person, I think. I hope so. Tá súil agam. And obviously, thank God again, in my work, buíoch le dia I mo chuid zibre, tá seans agam mé haon a chur nuail, agus rudaí difriúla ma insín a chur nuail. I have a chance, thankfully in my work, to express myself and express things on my mind. Go háirithe le Gaeilge Weekly. Sean rud ó bhfuil mé ag déanú díreach inis, agus fiú an cover agus an tedzel an bolchréile seo. Tá mise geanas sin, and I have creative control, and we spoke about that. Tá neart caint déint agam sin an bolchréile le cúpla bliain anuas. Ach, freisin tá mé géirí taobh muid den fudgréilegs, taobh muid den Gaeilge, away from the podcast and from LIO and learnirishonline, and away from the Irish language, tá mé géirí obair crothóch a dhéanú rud éigean. Bhí mé ag smaoineh fiú beidir pudchréile a thosú mBéarla, ag déanú agalibh le daoine difriúla ó áiteanna difriúla sa saoil. Maybe thinking of starting a podcast in English, bhí mé ag smaoineh fiú rud éigean a scríomh, to write something mar tá céim agam san níor seoirt. I have a degree in journalism sin an cúlra atá agam, ní léon céim agam sa Gaeilge, ní léon céim agam sa teagasc, nó éon rud mar sin tá céim agam san níor seoirt. Agus an sin sa dearg, sin an rud a chuaigh mé leis. That's the thing I kind of went with at the end, was writing. Agus tá mé tar éis, I don't want to say I've started writing a book. Níl mé géirí rá go bhfuil mé tar éis leabhar a thosú agus leabhar a scríomh. But I've started around 1 or 2 chapters of an idea I have for something that I guess would hopefully be a book one day. Tá mé tar éis cúpla cabhdéal a scríomh maidir le rud éigean bhfuil min sin. Agus leabhar a scríomh beidir sa todhchaí nó athrú go leabhar sa todhchaí to change it into a book, or kind of mold it into a book in the future. Agus tá mé buint sór taitneamh, sór taitneamh. I'm really, really enjoying it. Agus just rud éigean nach bhfuil buinte leis an obair. is even lom an podcréile, is even lom Gaeilge Weekly, is even lom éisteacht léiréis na srána tifriúla, the different shows or series a bhím ag déanú Patreon, agus YouTube, agus Instagram, agus ag cabhrú le daoine leis an Gaeilge, ach sin ma fust. It's my job as well, agus caithfidh mé smaoine faoi mar ma fust. Ach, le cúpla lá nús agus mis ag scríomh Google Docs agus just chun an tíirse sin a bheith agam teamh that freedom. Níl se seo buinte le airgid a hiile. This is not to do with making money, or it's got nothing to do with that. Agus ní caithfidh seo a bheith déint agam ribh áméigean. You spoke about there, okay, an podcréile chur amach ar an géadaoin agus orintha bín zephyr leis agus orintha déanann tú dearmad ar an rud é hain agus an alíonn é hain. You forget the thing itself or the art form itself, and it becomes about work or deadlines or dates or whatever. Agus chun an tíirse sin a bheith agam agus just a bheith ag déanú an rud chun an rud a dhéanú, doing the thing itself just to do the thing. Tá mbeidh buint soir taithne bheas agus tá sé beagal ní dachar mar fiú bín me insín ag dul go, oh, if I do write this into a book, how will I get a publisher, or how will I get it out? Agus, you know, orintha just caithfidh mé rá lam hain peartich é seo a dhéanú de chain. You should do this for yourself and enjoy it and have a good time with it, because you've been talking for years. Bhí tú ag labhairt le blianta as leabhar dhéanú na podcréile tifriúil le mBéarla hosaí, where some kind of thing outside of your work to start it on rud aigen tíobh muite de chuid ibre chun a hosaí. So I'm just trying to enjoy it and not to get sucked in, gone a bheith sánaithe le, oh, I have to do this or I have to do that, agus just an rud é hain a dhéanú agus a bheith ag díreú isteach ar an alíonn é hain. So sin é don fodcréile, sin é don chéad agran imlíne gur míle maithí as a bheith ag éisteacht. Má tá tú i ggéirí a bheith deagháil leis an bod chréile. If you want to email or contact the podcast, you can get in contact on Instagram, Learn Irish Online, but the best way is by email an chuid is fear sin ar an rifos, liam.learnirishonline@gmail.com. That's liam.learnirishonline@gmail.com. Agus tá neart sunraí faoi learnirishonline.com, patreon.com/learnirishonline. He's sa description, plenty of details about all those things down below. So, hope you've enjoyed the podcast, guys. Tásúlagam gur bhain sibh taitneamh agus tarbha as an bud chréile, and I'll be speaking to you guys next Thursday or Wednesday if it's on Patreon. An Déardaoin se thugann nó fiú ar an géadaoin má tá tú i do bháil ar Patreon. Very much looking forward to it and happy to be back with the show lán sás de bheith rais leis an show agus ag tnú go mór leis an teachtain se thugann. Slán agus beannacht.